everyone. Welcome back to JP's Budget Collecting and our second to last indie show talking Invincible. We are getting toward the end, and I got my crew with me. They've stayed with me now through 11 volumes of this sucker, so I appreciate it. We got my man Unruly Simeon. What's going on, sir?
I want to kiss her, but she's way too tall.
Nice. We got my man Dave Maris. What's going on, Adam?
Hey, doing good.
Yeah. And last but not least, we got my man Kirk. What is going on?
I love you, Unruly. You're hilarious.
We all.
I'm good.
Yeah. So, what do we think of this? What is the impressions of this part of the story? I am curious to what you guys think. I'm going to start with Kirk. What did you think? Because you weren't in here when we briefly touched on this initially.
It just feels like the peak of a climax to an end of a series. That's the only best way I can describe it.
Yeah. Okay.
This was an intense. They've all been intense reads, but it just seems like the intensity keeps getting revved up every time I read a trade.
Yeah. Well, Kirkman doesn't, he doesn't really put many lulls in, for sure. Sure. What about you, Damers? What did you think of this one? What jumps out at you on this one?
Well, it only took me a couple pages, and I was like, this isn't Otley. I was like, okay.
You mean when you go from, these faces, when he comes back to...
Yeah.
Or you get her face, and then it's... What happened to his face? The first panel.
I wasn't a fan of the transition of art. We can talk about that later, though.
Yeah. I will say it was jarring. It's not bad art, but I was like, where's Otley? I want Otley back. So, for sure. What about you, Unruly? What did you think of this volume?
Dude, it is. It's just, he keeps turning it up to 11 and a half, 12.
Totally agree.
It's like I semi-passed out once as a kid at a Ted Nugent concert and couldn't hear for 2 days. This is like the mental equivalent of that.
That's hilarious. I love the comparison.
So, for me, I will say there's the one thing that, and we'll get to it, is that there needs to be a payoff. I really enjoyed it, but there needs to be a payoff for the little time travel thing. If it's just a little aside, I'm gonna be mad. I'll be honest. If it was just a stall to age up Frog's army, I'm not gonna appreciate that very much. So we'll see what the payoff is there. But yeah. So, but let's get into this. We pick up with basically back on Earth a little bit here, and we get all the heroes trying to escape from robots. So what do we think of this little sequence where we jump back in of everyone kind of trying to turn on Robot and him basically going, you'll come to my side, just go. Because I have full power. What did you guys think of this whole little sequence here? Let's start with you, Dave Maris. What did you think?
Well, it was an excellent plan to escape. I didn't really see that coming. I thought it was pretty well pulled off. And then after the escape, whenever he just sort of pops in on him, he makes a compelling argument.
He definitely does.
That the world's peaceful, and if you're going to fight against that, what does that make you?
Good point.
Yeah, but the world's peaceful, but are people being people? We don't see that side of it. All we know is what we're being told. it's scary to think of a world that's in lockstep enough to be peaceful. All we've known up to this point is chaos. I mean, as a species, I'm still be wary of robots. That's just me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure. Because he's clearly got, like, every tyrant says, "Oh, I can bring peace," but what is the cost? There's got to be cost to this, and we haven't seen those yet.
And like Unruly said, you don't really know what's happening behind the scenes with the actual people. I mean, we assume we do, but I don't know why I looked at it, but was looking the other day at COVID numbers.
Yeah.
And China's COVID numbers are lower than Arkansas's.
Yeah.
And they haven't changed in a year and a half.
No way.
They haven't had any incidents in a year and a half.
Yeah.
So,
exactly.
And
it's, he's got these robots everywhere, and how many people have just disappeared that we don't, like, you see the thing, like, right now, what's going on in Russia, the lady held up a sign that didn't even say anything.
I saw that.
Like, it was blank, and they drug her off. They arrested her. And it's like, so what's he actually doing to maintain this?
I mean, what he's did to the superheroes, how much easier would it be to get rid of the common person?
Yeah.
And he was ruthless. I mean, absolutely ruthless with the superpowered population.
He cut all robots been he's been a very logical, emotionless, almost pretty much person. So it's like he has a good way of cutting off his emotions and just put his plans into work. But then when the fire is settled down, even the trade before last, how he just had his head down after his whole ordeal. He still felt like crap about it.
We get a little insight into that later, in this volume of him and the way he sees things and his own weakness in terms of that. So, which we'll get to when we get to that part. But I thought it was interesting. It was definitely good strategy on his part to just back off and be like, "Hey, I got peace." And what do you get? They're not really a threat to him at this point. He can take them down if they come after him. He's basically like, "You don't come after me, I won't come after you, and you're going to see that my way's better." And because he has complete control, and
if they do go after him, then they look not like heroes but villains.
Yes, so he's got them in a corner. He's definitely cornered them for sure. And we'll get to go ahead.
Especially with Omni-Man and the Voltrumites on his side.
Yeah.
Which he has.
For sure. So, you guys got anything else on this intro? We get a little more of this later, of what's going on with him, but anything more with that first issue? I feel like it's not really a filler issue because it needed to be done, but it's a very much a side focus to the main story a little bit. So,
Immortal blowing himself up, that was just gruesome. Find my legs.
He's like, I see my legs back.
And Immortal's legs.
How does his powers work exactly? It's just
I thought he just healed back to normal, but apparently he has to have the majority of his body to be put back together.
Clearly, that it's if you just kind of piece it back together, it just heals. I guess it's
he said somewhere he had to have most of his body
or something. Cut off a thumb, the thumb grows back. You got to stick the thumb on there, and then it just reattaches.
I think he can grow like thumbs and stuff. He just said he had to have most of his body.
Oh, okay. You gotta have the majority. Well, it's definitely an interesting power set for sure. So. So then we jump back to, universal politics. We can go back to Alan and Mark, and Alan trying to hold the coalition together. And then, so we see that he's not, universally below, like, it's not everything he says, but then we get more of. I did think it was kind of an interesting side conversation on the Battle Beast leader, the guy who leads his world. He's like, has there ever been another one? Well, they say there's a prophecy, but no. It's like, no, none of us are like that.
Well, I read that a little bit different because it made me because he worded it the way he worded it. He was like, never. His ferocity is have a match among my people, but there is prophecy of another, and it trailed off.
Yeah.
He didn't say of his race.
This is true. I hadn't thought about that. So yeah, it could be somebody else. Could be another somebody else. That's interesting. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. My poor dog.
I mean, you're kind of, I was kind of thinking, well, it's probably something to do with his planet then, but they were also just talking about crossbreeding with Vulturemites. So that made me wonder if there was a prophecy of his, species and a Vulturemite offspring.
Yeah, maybe. I hadn't thought about it from that perspective.
That's just a, weird guess.
No. So what?
But it's just
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it was just interesting because Alan was a part of one of those breeding projects. That's why he was like, no, we're not doing this because he's a product of one of those.
Yeah, but in some ways, he's a demonstration of how it worked because he is as strong as he is because he's a product of all that. His people were not that strong.
It's not a bad idea at all.
Yeah.
But Thrag's clearly putting it to use. So.
Oh, God.
Even so, though, they're not going to train them. Presumably, they're not going to bring them up to be little bloodthirsty, kill-happy critters. And that's where Thrag's army is going to have the major advantage.
Well, we got a little taste of that.
Yeah, we definitely get a taste of that at the end. So then we basically get, Alan asking Mark and Oliver. They find out where Thrag's at, and they send them to go get him. Hang on. So what did you guys think of that whole Mark choosing to go kind of, and the fun, like basically we get him giving Eve a day before they go. He gets a father-daughter day before he goes.
That was a great father-daughter day. I love that. I love his father-daughter moments. They always bring me to tears. It's definitely sounds like stereotypical Mark running off to a battle, because it's just a part of his morals. And he's got to do what he's got to do. And then Eve is kind of she's come to the point where she's just accepted it. Kind of like Mark's mom.
Yeah.
The best part was the row of panels where he's changing her diapers.
Yes. There was multiple of them.
Yeah. It's just it's so good. It's so he's like, oh, that's a good diaper. Oh no, and a good diaper.
Jesus, what did you eat?
So he definitely, But I love the last panel at the end of those two pages because it's one side is her day and one side's his day, and they get to the end. He's like, "How was your day?" And they're both like, "Great." And it's and it was a really fun aside moment. I'm glad they took the time for it to show Mark is a dad.
It was hilarious how fast Eve just left. She's like, "I'm out."
Okay.
Before he even left his mouth, I'm out.
He's like, "Go," and she's like, "Go."
Well, she had just had that
bird-like
thing on her. on the balcony.
Yeah.
Oh, the bird thing? Yeah.
Yeah, which at first I thought that was a mouth, and then I realized, nope, that's not a mouth.
Well, that's what she thought too. You see it, and it looks like a moth-like creature. And then no, it's not. It's a a bird taking a crap on her balcony.
Very acidic one too.
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, she's just like, I hate this planet. So anything else before we get to Mark and Oliver's little trip?
That's a freaking little side trip I didn't expect at all. And I'm just like you, JP. If this doesn't pay off later, I'm going to have to fly to wherever freaking Kirkham lives and put a foot up his ass.
So yeah, so we see them, and here's my problem with this. Like they get all these soldiers, they get all these ships, and then they're sending Mark and Oliver. But even if it's just Thrag, they know that's not enough. Like Alan's not going. They haven't called Mark's dad. Like, of course, he just bans him, so he's probably not going to hunt him. So that's fine. But like, they know Mark and Oliver can't take him, and these other people are pointless. Like, there's no point in sending these other people. It just seems like a horrible plan. What did you guys think about that?
The only reason why I saw him there was number one, cannon fodder, and number two, to take out everybody else.
I guess that's true.
To take out, his breeding stock and his offspring.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But like, I don't know. I just sending Mark and Oliver to take him on just seems like that's not going to work.
Yeah, because I mean, to me, that's the biggest threat they had was his offspring.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, but at this stage, his offspring aren't going to be powerful yet. Like,
exactly. That's why they need to take them out now.
Yeah. So I guess you're saying it's more of a strike against his breeding stock and the offspring, and Mark and Oliver are just there to keep him busy until they eliminate them.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought about it from that perspective. That's an interesting kind of dark.
I mean, I think they're there to also try and take him out, but at the very least, they want to make sure that he's left all alone again.
Yeah. No, that actually makes sense. I hadn't really thought about that. So they arrive at this planet, and he appears to be gone, and Mark explores a cave, and I still don't know what I think about this whole sequence. So I'm going to ask you guys. I'll start with Unruly this time. What do you already said a little bit, but what do you think of this whole sequence of him getting sucked back in time into his own body and this blue light thing that's like doing this? What do you think of this?
It's incredibly interesting.
Yeah.
But it better lead somewhere, like you said. But in his final choice, oh my God.
Yeah.
I don't know how you could ask anyone to make that choice.
Exactly.
It's sort of like an Endgame, remember, where Tony says, okay, I'll do it, but I'm not losing my daughter.
Yeah.
Because presumably, whoever snapped could have just said, all right, everything's the way it was 5 years ago, but now we know about Thanos and we can prepare for him. That would have left Tony's daughter out of the equation, and he was like, I'm not signing up for that.
He said, I ain't doing that.
You bring them back. You don't do anything else. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's a hell of a choice to make, man.
Yeah. So what about you? So Adam, you're the dad here on the panel. What do you think about this and his ultimate choice? We kind of skipped to the end of it, but his ultimate choice here.
I don't blame him. I mean, it's the train car question on a gigantic scale, because it's like the person you most love in the world versus probably millions of people.
Yeah.
It's like your child is like priceless. It's like putting a price on you or someone you love. Like how much are you worth? You know what I mean? It's been priceless. You can't
Well,
put
I
it
mean,
in
you know,
number.
I would choose my kids over myself.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
mean,
Well,
you
that's
know.
sort of what he's. I mean, he's choosing her over everyone else, and because he's like, I believe that Eve and I will be together eventually in this version, but Tara won't necessarily exist because it won't be the same moment. It won't be the same, and it's like, no, I'm not willing to do that, and you got to respect him for it. But so we've dealt with the choice. You guys had anything else about the choice? Then we'll deal with the whole sequence of how he handles being sent back in time here. So what did you guys think of you guys had anything else on his choice at the end? Kirk, you didn't say a whole lot there.
Oh no, I agree with everybody. It's like I said, it's definitely a hard. I think like species in around the world, around the galaxy, have a hard time understanding like human emotions, and it can't factor that in. And I think that's why that whatever that entity was like. You were the purest form. I thought you were gonna make the right choice. No, you didn't factor in human emotions. So
Yeah,
yeah, I thought it was interesting.
yeah, which is a lot of what the Viltrumites themselves are running into. Is like they have this, they have emotion, but not like the way humans have had it, and they're they get with the humans, and it's changing them, and like Mark's making this choice. So, but the sequence is he basically goes back and jumps into his own body from the day he got his powers with his full memories. Like, which would just be like, go back 5 years and know everything that's happened. Is basically what happens to him. So, what do you think about how he handles it? Like, his first thought is, of course, Eve. But what did you guys think of how he handles it? Start with Kirk this time. I'll let you go first this time versus.
I definitely thought it was interesting. I did not see the part coming how he pretty much like was able to like get his dad to understand like that just based on the conversation. But it's funny because like he gets he gets that moment of redemption just like all around. Like I can change everything I messed up. He's always like Mark always like I'm a fuck up or I messed up so many times, So it's like he gets that moment where he can like fix everything, and kind of make the bridge the mistakes that he made in the past.
I mean, he's clearly using the opportunity to do all the right things. Like, when he's stuck there, he's doing all the right things. What about you, Unruly? You were about to say something.
I love the whole fight with his dad, part 2. That was really well done.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, JP.
No, go ahead. I just saw you were ready to talk, so I wanted to make sure I got to you. So
one thing I found kind of humorous is whenever he met Robot and Eve and all them, and they're like, "How do we know that you're real?" Basically, it was like, "Well, you're not really a robot. You were born deformed. You're in a lab across this town. You live through this robot construct. Your name is Rudy."
and Rex is like, "Boy, you're just making crap
he's
up
real.
now." And he's like, "No, he's right."
That's
hilarious.
And I do love the thing that it puts perspective both. Like we already kind of know, but it gives Mark perspective here. But Robot talking about how he didn't, and everyone to find out about what I really, he talks about it scares him. He doesn't connect to people on a normal level. He, where he's going to make a decision, do something that feels right, like the right thing, but his lack of humanity would cloud his judgment. And Mark is like, oh God, Marcus is like the light bulb goes on above Mark's head, like, oh, like this is why you've done everything you've done. And and Robot's like, well, wait, tell me. And he's like, no, it wouldn't make sense. I can't. Yeah, he's not gonna Plus, he doesn't want to like even trigger that path if he's going.
Exactly. I don't want you to
So
be a dictator. Come on now.
yeah, but yes, the part with his dad is, and basically he leads him into a trap with the guardians of the globe in the hopes of like stopping him. But yeah, I would agree that part was really, really well done. You guys got anything else you want to touch on in this whole sequence here?
Well, at the very end, when the little whatever this being is, then you have doomed this world.
Yeah.
What world? There's obviously
Exactly.
There's a multiverse.
Yeah.
So what's one world against the life of your daughter? I mean,
yeah.
Now, obviously, this isn't real, A, and B, even if it was, we're not confronted with that choice. But C, holy shit. That's just, he's squeezing all kind of good stuff in here.
Yeah, and this thing is like, oh, we gave you a few weeks to get a taste. And it like, he's completely miserable. And they're like, but you saved so many. He's like, yeah, but this world isn't even real. This is, or if it is real, it's not his world. It's not his life. Like you basically, what it's done is it's taken away his choice because he lived his life. He made choices. He made mistakes like all of us do. And sure if I could go back, I would change these things. Well, he's changing things, but it's no longer his life because he knows, he already knows, well, I have to make this decision. And I have to do this to stop this. And, his free will is gone out of this to a certain degree. Unless he just wants to be a crappy person and not stop things and not do certain things. So, I mean, it just, obviously it's some sort of alien that just the perspective, but the whole thing was just so unfair. To be presented with this choice is just oh, you have to give up everything to help everyone else, even though you've been trying to do good the whole time. Yeah, you made some mistakes, whatever, but it was at least your life then. And they basically have taken that from you. So what, I mean, I don't know. What did you guys think? Did you guys think about it from that perspective like I did? Or did you just I don't know.
No, obviously. And I've never had a child, so I don't know that bond, but I don't see that he could have made any other choice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not who he is.
I have
Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead, Kirk.
No, I agree with Unruly. I ain't got kids, but I have plenty of nephews and nieces. I've taught for 10 years, so my students were like my kids. You know what I mean? So I understand that predicament. You know what I mean? And this thing, like you said, there's a multiverse out there. This thing, it said it was beyond time and space. So it's does that mean from this universe or the multiverse? I was a little confused about that as well. That's why I'm also this better lead to something. Otherwise, I'm gonna be pissed too because it felt like a fairly well done filler.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's if it doesn't play an important role in the wrap up, then it just feels like this. Oh, I need to age up Thrag's army, so I'm gonna have him go back in time, but he's only going to be gone a week, but it's going to be 5 years in the present. And it's wait, what? And how does that work? Did it just decide not to send him back sooner? We're going to, fine, you chose not what we wanted, so we're going to fuck with your life?
Pretty much, this thing can control space and time. You should be able to put him back to the moment that he came there.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
So that tells me one of two things, and I don't know that we'll see it. But it delayed him 5 years for a reason. A, it didn't put him back at that moment because maybe he dies at the hands of Thrag if it puts him back at that moment. Because you see, because they talk about that Oliver got hurt or whatever. And all the ships got destroyed or whatever. And So maybe that's why it doesn't put him back at that moment. But why 5 years? It's got to have, if it can see everything, it's got to say, well, this is to have the best impact. We got to put him back here. He didn't do what we wanted, but we can still maybe have a chance if we delay him. But
Yeah.
I mean,
Or-
that's putting. Or go ahead.
Let's not rule out pettiness.
Or could this be pettiness?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
because this thing is supposed to be all knowing, so it was
Here's
shocked
another
that he chose that
Interesting
decision.
question I was thinking about is, why did Thrag go to that planet?
Yeah.
Well, they were on the run. They were on the
Well, they were
run.
on the
right?
run.
Yeah, I
and we
know,
were
but why
talking
did he
for
Why?
pick
supplies.
this planet? And if you noticed, as Mark was going down in that hole, he was told not to go down too far before his comm started breaking up, because
Yeah.
there was something, and his comm broke up.
Yeah.
So it was almost like that was something was known to be down there.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, like at least the inhabitants
that's
of the
interesting.
planet knew something was down there. Whether Thrag knew something was down there, that's
Well,
I
that
don't
was
know.
Oliver. That was Oliver warning him. Oliver was warning him about that before his
Yeah.
transmission went blank.
Yeah, how's that go? It's like there's a few nearby. Let me ask, because Mark asked him if they think they could be hiding underground, and Oliver's like, I'll ask some locals. There's a few nearby, and it's like this cave goes deep in the planet. This is crazy. And he's like, Mark, stop. They say don't, because he was talking to the locals.
Oh, got
Oh,
you.
okay.
Okay. Because it almost seemed like Oliver knew. I mean, we know why he would potentially.
He knew not to go because the locals said, no, don't go in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
thinking that it
gotcha.
was,
I
the
missed that part,
coalition
yeah.
knew, is
Yeah.
kind of what I was thinking.
Well, I was thinking because we know who Oliver is working for. Like, I think that's what. That's what I
Well,
thought.
later, yeah. I think this is
Yeah.
Obviously, he recruits him when he lets him live after this. Because really, I mean,
You're right. After the 5, I didn't even put that together. After the 5 years passed, you're right.
well, I think that this battle, like when Oliver basically has to face him alone, is when he recruits him. And it's like, okay, these people are my people now, Thrag's people now, are more your people, Oliver, than all these other people you're fighting for.
Yeah.
They all share half your heritage. They all share your heritage, Viltrumite and whatever the bug people are.
Yeah, bug
I
people.
forget. I don't remember their name, like the name of the species.
Me either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's clearly when he recruits Oliver, and
might be why Oliver's still alive.
I would say it's probably the only reason Oliver's still alive. So yeah, he comes out of the cave, and so what do you think of the reveal here when she comes out? She's like, and she's no longer this little baby, and it's like, are you my daddy?
Yeah, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I cried. That was a really sad moment. I teared up for sure.
Yeah,
Because it was, yeah, definitely. Because he really is trying to be a better person, like for his family, and it's just like just what I'm doing, being a good father. Like here I go, missed 5 years of my daughter's life.
Yeah, I mean, like his whole thing was he wasn't going to do missions. He wasn't going to do stuff. He was like, no, I got to be there for my family. And it was like Thrag only was basically his rule, and it still cost him 5 years when he fought it. It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Emily? What did you think when you flipped that page and he's talking to Eve, and he then flips the page, and there she is?
Oh, I saw that coming a mile away.
Yeah.
I mean, Kirkham's going to throw some major twists and turns into it. I was talking to Damirs about this when you were earlier before we started. What's amazing to me is how young they both are, Eve and Invincible, and he still loves her. Yeah. And he's put her through some changes, and she keeps saying, going back to him, man.
Yeah.
That might be the most unbelievable part of this crazy-ass comic book.
Well, yeah, they clearly have been through a lot. And, yeah, they're what? Well, in 5 years, she's probably, what, 30? 30 or 40? 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 40. 25, 26 at this point, and because he basically missed 5 years, he's still like 21, 22.
Yeah.
Like,
well, also look at Eve's like relationship with her family. Like, she doesn't want to have like a anywhere like a relationship like that.
Yeah.
And before Omni-Man was found out to be like an evil person, like they had a him and Mark had a pretty good life. So I don't know what point I was trying to make.
So we get them reuniting and Mark trying to fit in, and Alan instantly trying to recruit him, which is just like, dude, read the room. Like, I love Alan, but come on. What do you think of that?
Exactly. It's like, sorry to bust your bubble.
But poor Alan's literally got the weight of worlds on his shoulders, man.
Yeah, he does. He's like trying to figure it out, and he's losing. Like, Thrag is back and as powerful as he's been at any point at this point. And his army's young, but they're all we see them like as you go through here, they're conquering worlds quite easily, and but then we get the reveal that Eva still loves him. She was not, she didn't. She went on. She thought he was gone. What did you think about this little twist?
She waited 4 years.
She did wait 4 years.
That's
4.5. They were only together for a couple of months, weren't they?
Yeah, that's the impression you get. Is it was just a short period.
Well, that's what she said. Like they weren't together for too long.
I just found it kind of ironic that he wanted her to give up the daughter, just like the tentacle creature wanted to give up Mark to give up the daughter.
Yeah. Yeah, that he was just like, why do you have attachments to kids? And like, just the alien nature of, So
that's just their species. Yeah, it's like your kids are born and then they go off and do their own thing. No emotional attachment.
But then we get the reveal of who Oliver's talking to at the end of this.
Yeah.
That Oliver's been playing both sides. Oh, sorry. So what did you guys think about that reveal? That Oliver had played both sides. Daymare, this time I'll start with you.
It kind of surprised me. But once I saw it, it kind of made sense. He was the last of... their Thrag's offspring are closer to him than any other creature in the world or universe. I'm sure he probably doesn't like the way he's going about it, but
yeah, for me, it was not I was not surprised, like at all, by that reveal. What about you, Kirk? What did you think of that reveal?
It was a reader shocker, but I'm kind of not surprised. But I had a lot of confidence in Oliver that he was growing. I thought at least him being a father would kind of seem like he would mature a little bit more. But I guess his logic is not earthly, so right. I can't think like an earthling, I guess.
We've seen him throughout the story. Yeah, that he has he's very alien in his perspective on things. Because he's not earthly at all. Yeah. He's Viltrumite in this other thing. He's not human in any way. What about you, Unruly? Yeah. What did you think of that reveal?
Listen, I don't, first of all, I don't want to come across as speciesist, but he's weird because he's banging a goddamn katydid.
I love the fact that his wife does not get along with Mark. It's so good. Hi, hello.
Yeah, she's clearly, he's got a little different taste for sure. To put it mildly.
She was even talking crap about the kids. She's like, they look weird, but I still love them.
They look like you. They look weird. Yeah. But for me, it made sense because, like you said, this is actually these Thrag's kids are as close to Oliver's family as anybody in some ways, or to his own species, and Oliver's been very detached the whole time, and I could see him following Thrag's logic of no, we need to be in charge. We're the more powerful. I could see it attracting him for sure. So I was not necessarily surprised by that reveal. But then we get, Mark and Eve have decided that they're just going to hide out forever or whatever. But basically after they kind of get sucked back in again after Alan, we had seen some of the politics, and this rogue member of the council decides to try to take Alan out.
Oh, that was so messed up.
But again, we see just how powerful Alan's become. That he still survives that.
And fully healed.
Yeah, and he healed all the way back, which is just crazy.
Well, it wasn't 100%. He's still going through what is it called?
Physical therapy?
Rehabilitation. Yeah, physical therapy. Thank you.
Yeah, he didn't heal all the way back by the end of this book. You're correct. But he's getting really close by the last time we seen him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he grew his limbs back. He didn't have no legs, no arms.
Yeah, that's...
No eye.
He looked like a mummy. A dried out mummy.
He looked kind of like Beta Ray Bill in the face.
Yes! I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, he does.
That's
he lost all his limbs, but you see him this whole sequence where he's growing stuff back, and it's just
yeah,
it's not as bad as it looks, honest.
Yeah, not as bad as it looks. Hey, what the heck, man?
Is it me, or does Oliver look like the lead singer of Queen?
Yeah, with his little wimpy mustache.
Yeah.
I was all I could think was 70s porn star.
Yeah.
He's got the classic porn stash for sure.
I meant that is the whole race though that grows a mustache. All the men.
Yeah, that's their whole thing. Is they all have a mustache of some sort. So during this, though, we get the aside of Mark and Eve go back to Earth to see his parents, and we see that Earth has been in a bad way because they got invaded by the guys that were working with what's his face with Langstrom earlier.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and now Robot. Basically, everybody loves Robot now. So I'm going to ask you guys.
Him and Omni-Man are best friends now.
Yeah, him and Omni-Man have now become friends. So I'm going to ask you guys the question Mark asked. Do you believe him, or do you think Robot staged this to get everybody finally on his side, to end the last of the resistance to him?
Wouldn't put it past him.
I totally think he would now whether he did or not, I totally think he would.
He has the potential. I just don't think Robot wants to do that. I think he just wants to lead Earth to his idea of a utopia. You know what I mean?
But if he can end the last of the resistance, I mean, what does it Mark say? Oh, he managed to have this attack, and yet only 1,000 people died, and casualties are almost bare minimum, and but it was this massive invasion, and yet almost nobody got hurt. I don't know. It just seems very
Fishy.
convenient, like for his perspective. And OmniFan's like, well, he could have been president multiple times, and he didn't want it or whatever. And it's like, well, no, he doesn't want.
He doesn't have to.
He doesn't have to be.
He doesn't want the. Yeah.
Why have the bureaucratic crap when you're in charge anyway? Like,
You are the bureaucracy.
The really smart ones always put out a front guy anyway. Let him take the flack in the assassination attempts.
for sure, to be the power behind the throne and not the power in front, for sure.
I mean, remember what Geppetto did with his empire?
Yeah. Oh no, he had his little false emperor, yeah, for sure. If you guys haven't read Fables,
I have not read Fables.
Yeah,
I need to. That's on my list.
But also during this trip home, we get god dang, Anissa comes to visit Mark, but she finds out he's there. And Eve has got no part of that. But
she's like, stayed away from him.
Yeah. But we see that she's kind of calmed down a little bit. Like she seems to have like actually settled in because she has a man now and and as we find out, 2 children, one of which is little Marky. What do we think of that reveal?
I'm not surprised, but it was definitely a shocker.
Well, it certainly explains why she didn't come back for round 2.
Yeah, this is true.
But what I like is when Mark is visiting his folks, and my daddy is strong like you, Papa. So obviously in those 5 years, she's visited back and forth with the grandparents. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Eve says that, like that they'd visited a couple times or something.
Oh, yeah. I missed that part too.
Yeah, somewhere in there, Eve says that because she never stays very long because of Robot.
Oh, that makes sense though.
So, but all right. So we get to the end here, and we basically see Thrag has discovered where Mark and Eve are hiding out, and he sends 2 of his best to go take them out. And then he tells Oliver, basically he tests Oliver and says, you can't interfere, which good for Oliver, he does. So, but what did you think of this whole sequence at the end of the fight, and particularly the things that stood out to me was Mark, like when Thrag has his daughter and Mark has the boy, and he's like, you won't do anything, you know, all that hero stuff, and he's like, hero is bullshit or whatever. He just like crushed. Yeah, I mean, he just like crushes his head.
Yeah,
being a hero is bullshit. Yeah, and he just like pops the kid's head off.
Yeah,
like, dang.
His sister was so mad.
The sister is dangerous, to put it mildly. Like,
yeah,
she was way more dangerous than the brother, the boy was anyway, because he was just a hothead.
Yeah.
So, but what did you guys think of that? Unruly, what did you think of that whole sequence?
Loved it. I admire the Voltrumites. I, for one, welcome our Voltrumite overlord. If this is ever gets beamed into space, I want him to know I'm their yes man. I'll be your PR guy for planet
Earth. You heard that.
like we were saying earlier, man, I can't hold a grudge. I can't stay mad. Yeah. So some perverse part of my brain admires ruthlessness. That doesn't mean I want it in my life or I'll put up with much of it, but I really do admire that single-minded ugliness that some people amongst us have. I know it's perverse. I'm just being honest.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't know. They're definitely like single-minded and just like, yeah, we're gonna do whatever it takes here. And so, what did the rest of you think of this, Damers? What did you think of it?
It was pretty crazy. I liked the one part where the daughter was falling. She was like, "I can fly."
Yeah.
He's like, "I can't get down, but I can fly."
It's like, oh, I didn't fall.
And it's really would be interesting to see her older, what her blend of being a Voltramite and Eve's powers, what that would be like.
Yeah,
And she
doesn't
got her-
inherit any of Eve's stuff, like which we haven't seen yet, but I assume she's got to have some of it in her, like for sure. So that will definitely be interesting if we get any of that later.
I mean, she got her powers pretty early.
Yeah, very early.
She didn't fully get them, but you know.
Well, but part of
And
that
it was kind of
maybe
traumatic,
the
way
the
she,
stress and desperation of what is
Yeah.
it they, on the X-Men thing, it's like the stress and desperate moments can make them come sooner or later or whatever. Like they're there, they just like it takes something to trigger them. So it's interesting that she did get them so soon, which maybe that's as much Eve as it is Mark at that point.
Yeah, that's a good point.
What about you, Kirk? What did you think of this whole sequence at the end?
It was insane. Just seeing the whole battle. I just feel so bad for the daughter because this is kind of like her intro into war, and Throg was like super sick with it, just like smearing blood. Like, where are your parents at? Honey?
After he kills Oliver, he's just like, oh, in front of her, and and then he just rips her dad. He rips Mark in half, literally, like,
yeah.
And
he's like, leave him alone, leave him alive, just enough so she can watch her parents die, and then she can die.
She's gonna die because she's on her own or whatever. He's just completely like evil. He's just not even like slightly evil. He's just like evil. But at the end of this, we get to see something we haven't seen since Conquest, which is the full extent of what Eve can do when her limiter is broken, which is she can just rewrite anything at that point. And Mark's like, "Did you make me stronger?" She's like, "I tried to," like in case they weren't gone. But Eve's powers are like, I don't know. I still feel like we don't understand or have gotten a full measure of what she can actually do. What did you guys think about that? She did this, not just did she rewrite herself, but she rewrote Mark, like, during this.
Well, and the daughter fixed the daughter's leg.
Yeah, she fixed the daughter's leg, and like.
Oh yeah. No, I just thought it was like I thought it was pretty interesting. Like, just because even like the look on her face after she brought him back, like, yeah, I did this. Like, she's starting to get a lot more confidence in like her. Yeah, there you go. She's like, this was nothing.
That is one of the better panels by this artist.
No, I agree. Yeah, these last couple of panels were really good.
Yeah, I want Otley. I hope Otley does most of the finale, but yeah. And then and you get the, like, when Mark says we have to go back, and I know, like, you get her. She's very determined. Like, yeah. So this is definitely, I would say, this is the best issue by this artist for sure. This wrap up and fight. But I hope when I open the next book that it's Otley. I don't know if it is. I haven't even looked at it, but.
It's Otley from this ended in 132. Otley for 133 to 136. Then 137 he wrote about half the book, and then 140, and then after that it's just covers. But this guy only does half the book of 144.
Okay.
So there's a couple more. There's
a little bit. I assume 144 is
Yeah.
probably a giant issue anyway, or something, or maybe multiple things going on there, but because that's the wrap up. But yeah. All right, so we've gotten to the end of this volume. Overall, what did you guys think of this one? What did you like? Any final thoughts on this one before we discuss what we want to read in the finale here?
I really like that we see this next bump up of Eve's powers. It's kind of like, if you remember in the FF, it took almost 300 issues to reveal that Sue is the most powerful member as far as straight up powers go. And I kind of like that Eve, they're showing off that side of Eve. I really dug that.
Yeah, I feel like to a certain degree, because she has this limiter like in her that like she can't rewrite organic matter or whatever. Like she can, like is the only thing that keeps her from just being absolutely OP. But like even with what she has, I feel like they've kind of underutilized what she could truly do at times. But maybe that's just her own imagination to understand what she can truly do too. Part of it. But what about you, Damers? Is there anything else in this volume that stands out to you that you want to touch base on?
No, but besides how jacked Mark is now.
Yeah.
On the last couple of pages. I mean,
I noticed that.
Like she said she made him stronger, and like he looks it for sure. No offense, I think he looks stronger, and like to a certain degree, she looked, and part of it I think is just the outfit, but she looks like you talked about, more confident and more like she definitely made some alterations as she was bringing them back.
Mm-hmm.
I love that the little girl, like, it does make me laugh when she's like, "You're alive," and then her next line is, "I can see your butt."
Just look at that.
That is a little kid, man. That's just
how
a kid would react.
Definitely.
Yeah, I love the interaction that she had with the robot. Robot's just trying to teach her.
The robot trying to figure out her age and making age adjustments and that was a fun. Like, I don't want to learn, and then he has to figure out how to like teach her because of how old she is.
Go find me 10 orange flowers.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we want to see out of the finale? I let Kirk go this. What do you want to see here? Well, I have a question before I get. What do you want to see? I want a question for all. Well, I'll save the question for the end. So, what do you want to see out of the finale?
I definitely want to see. I'm gonna be curious on how Earth and everybody in the coalition team up together. Because I feel like that's what's gonna happen. Earth is gonna team up with the coalition for one giant battle with Throg. Thrag.
Okay, so because my question was going to be, does Robot get redemption in a final battle with Thrag, or does Mark end up having to deal with both of them? So you're going with Earth is going to team up. So So you think Robot gets some redemption here in a final battle with Thrag?
Yeah, I think so, and I think that maybe Mark and Robot will have like some kind of like cleansing moment. I think Robot's gonna die. I think the human person of him is gonna die, but I think there's gonna be like some kind of like redemption towards the end. Like,
okay.
I'm sorry for what I did.
Kind of where I think it's going, but I was curious where What about you, Damers? Where do you think this is going, or what do you want to see out of it?
Well, I definitely think that the Vitramites on Earth are going to join in, especially since Oliver died.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to pull them together. Dad's going to want to avenge his son and bring everybody else with him.
Do you think, back to my question then, do you think Mark has to deal with both Robot and Thrag, or do you think Robot gets a little bit of a redemption and helps him, and then what I think is ultimately ends up costing Robot his life, but like that he ends up helping Mark deal with Thrag at the end here?
Yeah, I don't know. I could definitely see it going either way. I don't think Mark will have to deal with them both at the same time.
Right.
I think that, he's not worried about Robot, really.
Not really, no.
He's not in favor of what he does by any means, but, let a sleeping dog lie, kind of,
A little bit. Like, he's going to outlive Robot. So,
Yeah.
from that perspective. Unless Robot, well, I guess an AI of Robot, I guess you could say, which he's probably smart enough to do. But, all right. Unruly, what you've read it, but what did you want originally out of the finale? And, and won't ask you if you got it or not, but when you got to this part of the story, what did you want to see as you got to the finale?
I like a song that ain't got no melody. Let the bad guy win every once in a while.
Oh.
Because listen, hey, really on paper, is there any way Thrag can lose? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But this is a comic book, so that's probably not going to happen, right?
Right.
No, man, at this point, if Robot's a good actor, if he's been a good actor all along and he's really trying to bring about peace, even though he's done despicable shit, I don't want to see him get his comeuppance.
Yeah. Okay.
But I want to see Thrag torn into tiny pieces and those tiny pieces tortured individually.
Just keep bringing them back to life and destroy them again. Clone them and destroy them again.
There you go.
Where's the twins at?
I don't think you want to go down that road. Well, I was looking forward to finally tearing the plastic off this and reading this ASAP. But yeah, I kind of want to see, because I do think Robot's been ruthless. Like, he's done some terrible things. In some ways, particularly that line he had in this volume where he's talking about, that I'll think I'm doing what's right, but it'll be my lack of humanity or my detachment will cause me to do something bad. And I think a little bit that's actually what's been playing out. And I want to see him sort of get a little redemption in Mark's eyes, at least. And I feel like the only way that really comes about is if basically he dies helping fight Thrag, but we'll see. So, that's just where I feel it's probably going, but we'll see. All right. Well, we're over our hour mark. You guys got anything else before we get out of here that you want to pitch or talk about? All right.
Nope.
Well, I am looking forward to coming back and finishing this up in a couple of weeks. Hopefully, we haven't set a date yet, but we're going to come back and read the final part of this. And indie show wise, tomorrow night we're going to be talking Layla Starr back here at the same time.
Ooh,
so
I
got
read that.
Comics Will Break Your Heart, Jennifer, that Comic Girl Mars, and Comics Kings Brandon are all joining me for that. So
you had me until Brandon, and you got help.
Man, Brandon is freaking awesome, man.
I know.
12 and he's doing all this. Come on.
Have you seen some of the interviews he's had?
Yeah, he's been going ahead. Didn't he just interview Chris? Not Zdarsky. Was it the Zdarsky that he just interviewed? Yeah. He's been going ahead.
He had Bob Layton on one night. I was like,
yeah, I remember that. Yeah, he's been going ahead for sure.
He just turned 21.
You mean 12, right?
Shut up.
we need a bunch more Brandons, man.
We do.
Listen,
I just give him a hard time because we went against each other in comic gories.
Yeah.
No.
I remember.
So,
ever since then, there's been a little trash talk back and forth.
Nice.
Beef.
Jen and Mars I love hearing them talk about stuff.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to this for sure. And plus, having read this, I'm looking forward to talking about this because I had not read it till just recently.
That was a very interesting series. I liked it.
Yeah. So definitely it's going to be positive. I'll give you that much from me. So there you go. All right. With that, we're going to get out of here. I want to thank Hoppins for hanging out with us. Not Near Mint. Rob has been hanging out with us most of the time. GT Key's been in here for the most of the part. Thank you, fellas. I appreciate you guys all hanging out here. We've had 10 or 12 most of the time. So thanks everybody that hung out. And we will catch you guys next time. Later.